Hey, Tony, guys, here popping in. Episode of Talks with Tony now. So I'm gonna try to start going back through the emails that I've been receiving, and instead of going way back, I'm gonna just go from the most recent and kind of go back, just because I realized the people who wrote me last year might not even still be watching the channel, and so I'd rather answer the ones that's closer because those people are here now. So got one here, and I didn't read all the way through it, but it felt like it had enough substance. And it says, I'm a 25-year-old female, just turned 25 last month, which is typically the age most young adults are either settling down with their significant other or getting married. Over the past 6 months, I've been to a total of 3 weddings, including my very close cousin, who I thought would never settle down and tie the knot. It hasn't been my main focus to get into a relationship, but I'm starting to become worried. I'm currently a doctoral student, hoping to become a psychologist in the next 3 years. So most days I'm working or going out with friends for a break. Due to my cousin recently getting married and having a baby on the way, my family is often asking about my non-existent boyfriend, and my mom has even stated to me that she doesn't want me to have kids at 30 because then she'll be too old. I'm starting to feel the pressure of finding someone and even thinking about finding a sperm donor to have a kid on my own. I will say my preferences are a bit picky. I'm 6'1", who played Division I sports as well, so I've always envisioned my partner with a tall, athletic build. That's also been difficult to come across at my age because most men like that play around or I'm not their type. I'm unsure of what to think. I do plan on getting married and having kids one day, but it just doesn't look like it'll happen for me. Any advice? Also, I love your channel. I've been learning so much from you over the years. Thanks for all you do. And this young lady posted a picture on here as well. Um, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. And be honest with you, y'all put a lot of, women, when it's men out here, trying to help and trying to answer questions, y'all put a lot of pressure on us. Y'all put a lot of pressure because it's kind of like, the commercial. I think it was a Twix commercial, and the woman said, "Do I look fat?" And in this dress, and the man he got to eat the Twix, and that's how some of these questions are because it's like, I don't know, like I'm not sure, like, but what I will say to this is your circle, you've been seeing some weddings, but 25 is still very, very young. You're still very young. And then also, life kind of it has natural ebbs and flows. And so you attract what you are, you attract where you are, you attract what you become. And so what I mean by that is like when you are ready, your mind starts to really look and it sees things that it otherwise did not see when you weren't ready. So being that you're in a season right now, you're working very hard and you're trying to reach your goals. You want to become a psychologist in the next 3 years and you're a doctoral student right now. That's a huge undertaking. That's a lot that you have going on. So your mind naturally cannot focus fully on finding a relationship and doing your work. And your priority right now is your work because of your goals. So that's where your attention is going. That's where your energy is going. That's what you look like. So even when you out and about, you look preoccupied. You look focused. You look like you're into something because you're not going to have all the time in the world to be dolled up and to be all pris and prim and proper because your focus is your grades. And yeah, you could take care of yourself or what have you, but it's not like you get to spend all the time in the world in the gym and at the med spa and at the sauna and getting facials and getting hair and nails done all the time, just primming and prepping for a man because your priorities are different. So that's what you got to understand. You also got to block out the noise. You got to stop listening to what other people want for your life. And if this is a desire of yours, you got to look at the root of your desires. do you really want a relationship? Do you really want to be married right now and having kids right now while you in school and you focusing on your goals? Like, is that what you really want, or is that what society says you should have? Is that what you want because your friends are getting it? And you don't know if your friends really want that, or if your friend just got caught up sleeping with somebody and then they got pregnant and it's like, hey, you got to get married not to look bad. Or if your friends maybe didn't have goals and dreams or visions that they were passionate about, and so marriage was like an escape, like a reason to drop out of school, a reason not to focus so hard on school so that they don't have to admit failure, or admit that they don't like school, or admit that they really don't want to go work a 9 to 5 and they want to be taken care of by a man. Like, you never know what a person's motives are. So you can't look at what somebody else got and say, oh, I should have this too. Oh, I should have, do I have to have this too? And then you can't listen to your mama. Because for one, she just talking. She talking about, oh, you have kids at 30, I'm going to be too old. She'll be too old. And it's like, mama, these ain't your kids. If you too old, so what? This ain't about your grandkids. This about my life. This about when I'm ready to have a child, when I could bring a child into the world and have the time and focus and attention for my child. So what sense would it make to go to all this college, get all these student loans, become a psychologist, and then have a child, and now you can't work because you so tied up with your child, or you don't know what that child gonna come with. You don't know what type of situation. Like my wife, she had our son, I think she was getting her master's, but then he came out 2.5 months early. So he was homesick, like he was at the house. He was special needs, quote unquote, and she couldn't work. She didn't have time for nothing else but him. And that wasn't really the plan. It just kind of happened because we was living life without a plan. So it happened, and that's what can happen when you looking around at what everybody else got, or you just going with the flow, or you trying to please different people. You'll end up with the short end of the stick. So understand your priorities and what you really want, and understand that it's seasons for everything. And yes, we can have it all in the sense of you can get a degree, you can get a doctorate, you can become a psychologist, and you can get married, and you can have kids. Yes, we can do that, but we may not be able to do everything at the same time. And so your friend that got married, she got a baby on the way. She got married. You never thought she'll settle down. But is she a doctoral student? Does she have a goal as big as yours? Is she doing that right now? And so, and even if she is, okay, you don't know in what area she's lacking, she's slacking, she giving too much, she accepting too much, she taking too much. You don't know the behind the scenes, so you have to look at your life, and you got to be okay, and you got to be comfortable with your life. You got to be comfortable with what you're doing. So understand that, and you got time. The other thing is, when you're doing what you're doing, for a man, in your arena, he will be seen as a nerd. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's not look at that like a derogatory term, and a lot of quote unquote people call themselves nerds, quote unquote nerds, call themselves nerds, and nerd swag, and different things. And so a man in your industry, for a man to accomplish or be around you, like a doctoral student getting his doctorate, that's very hard for a man. Because a lot of times as men, we'll lack focus, and we get easily distracted, and we just bouncing all over the place. We here, we there, we this, we that. So that type of man is typically a little nerdy, a little introvertish, a little socially awkward at times, or could have been growing up. Very rarely do you find this just swaggy, just super athletic former sports star in your type of circle. That's a rarity. That's gonna be a rare man. It happens, but it ain't just everywhere. So what you have to realize is that your man might not look like what you've been attracted to your whole life, being a former basketball player. And so, and I say that because you 6'1", play D1 sports or volleyball or what have you. But being a former athlete in college, if you go into tournaments, and let's say, you play basketball, you go into tournaments, you go into AAU or EYBL, whatever y'all call it, you go in these tournaments, you around all these, trees of men, 6'8", 6'9", 6'6", so that may be your attraction. You want a tall man who's athletic build, like you said. Well, most of them guys don't go get a doctorate. Most of them guys don't like school like that because they've been athletes and affirmed as athletes. So your guy, he might look a little different, act a little different. He may have never played sports. May have a athletic type build or a slender build, or he may be, heavier set, but you have to open your eyes and open your mind to understanding he might be 6 foot and not 6'4", 6'6". He might be 5'11" and comfortable in his skin and okay that you are 6'1". And so you got to stretch that and not be so picky in areas of things that a man has no control over. A man can't control his height, and a man can't control his looks, in the sense of, what if he's doing everything he could do. If he working out, if he washing his face, if he brushing his teeth, if he putting on deodorant, he showering, that's the best he could do. So if he 5'11", he 5'10", and he okay, that you taller, you need to be okay that he's shorter, because it's a lot of insecurities that can come with being a shorter man. So if you meet a man and he okay with you, then you need to be okay with him if he's a great guy. And so if you really want to be married, you really want to be, with somebody like right now, then open your pool, open your dating pool, stretch it a little bit, because like you say, your preferences are a bit picky. For one, preferences are not a good thing. You need standards, like you not getting on your back before marriage. You need standards like he can't be a smoker, he can't be a drunkard, he can't be a gambler, he can't be a womanizer. Like, you need standards. But let go of the preferences right now. Let go of the preferences and see who wants you. See what the men that want you, see what they look like. See what they look like. Get to know them, hear their heart, hear their spirit, see where they head at, and then see if you could see something. And if you can't see nothing, if shorter than you is synonymous with him being a jerk or him being insecure, then that'll show itself. And it'll prove itself over and over again that men who are shorter than you are just too insecure about their height, and they just can't deal with it, and it just draining you. So you rather just have a man that's taller than you. And then, like you say, men who are taller than you, you say they like to play around, or I'm not their type. And that's two lanes that is going to be the majority, because a man who is taller than you, every woman wants him, because women are obsessed with height. Most women are obsessed with height, so every woman wants him. So yes, he has a lot of options in that area. And then two, I'm not their type. Because taller men are praised and coveted, they then a lot of times want the pick of the litter. They want the best of the best. And that is typically determined by the media. So if the media says, oh, this woman right here is the ideal, and if that ideal woman is 5'6" to 5'9", on average, then you would be outside of that. So that would limit a lot of those guys who they're looking for what the media is promoting. All that means is that's not your guy. And so you just have to be patient. You got to be consistent. You got to expose yourself, meaning be out there making moves, join the organizations, join the little clubs, the little groups, have you somewhere to go 2-3 times a week that is healthy, that is productive, have a gym that you frequent, because as I look at your picture here, I could tell that you tall, and I could tell that you're athletic built, but it's not looks that's hindering you. And praise be to the Lord, thank the Lord that it ain't looks, because I wouldn't have known how to tell that lie on here. But it ain't nothing wrong with your looks or anything, nothing wrong with your presentation, how you present yourself. It's just timing. It could be location. It could be your schedule, your routine. Where do you go? Where do you get out of the house? Where are you at? It just could be just little things that is really not that big of a deal. And just the season you are in your life. So you very young, and it's tough. And I feel for y'all young folks, 25 to 28 and under, because I'm getting a lot of messages from people that's 28 and under talking about, y'all stressed and y'all worried because y'all ain't got no partner. And now this is something that this ain't new. So it's always been like this. I remember when I was growing up hearing the number is 28, that you should be married, that you should be married by the age of 28. I remember hearing that number all the time, and articles being written about it. 28 is the number and all of this. So this ain't nothing new, but it is overrated. It is overrated. And I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of the people, like my wife and I, we got married. We were so young. I was 23. I had just turned 23, and my wife was still 20. And so she was getting ready to turn 21 in about 6 months after we got married. And so we 2.5 years apart. And it's a lot of days that we kind of sat and we talked, and we was like, we wish we would have waited. Like, we wish we would have not had kids right away. Like, we wish we would have done it a different way. We wish we would have saved ourselves. We wish we would have got married and spent like 2-3 years just together ourselves with no kids. Our son was born a month after we got married. And so we did it all wrong. And that's what you got to be careful of. The grass always look greener. My wife will be watching a movie or something like The Intern, and she loved that movie, The Intern. And she'll see these women in their, 20s, and they're in New York City. And they're living that New York City life. They on the subway. They walking up and down them streets. They working corporate. They interning at Vogue and InStyle and this here magazine, that magazine. They doing fashion shoots. They working with the best of the best. And she'll look at that and she would envy that. She would be like, man, I wish I would have like just taken a couple years and like went an intern at this fashion magazine and like saw what that was like. And so it's a lot that you miss when you jump right into adulthood. And what you got to understand, marriage ain't going nowhere. Having kids ain't going nowhere. That stuff ain't going nowhere. Like, you in a season that you're not going to get this season over. You're not going to get this again. And in most cases, you're not going to get this body again. You fit, you slim. I mean, it's a little harder for you to fill out because you're 6'1". But you slim, you fit, you still got your athletic genes going. So it's like, it's women that's 35 that would kill to be 25 and not have to be counting calories and worrying about metabolism as much. Or 45 and like, man, if I had me one more chance to do 25 again, what I do? So it's like, we get so caught up as humans looking at other people's life and what other people got going on and what other people doing and saying, and we get caught up in other people around us and their selfish desires for our life. Like your mama wants you to have kids for her. It's like, this ain't by her. She had her kids. You and your brothers and sisters, y'all her kids. She had y'all when she wanted to have y'all, or she did that. You live your life and you have your kids when you ready, and you could be fully present and focus on your kids and don't worry about your mama and what she talking about, because whenever you have them, she not gonna be too old. It's like, mom, what you want to go do? Run track with them? But you want to race them in the 100 meters? All you got to do is hold them in your lap. You could be 80 years old and hold a baby. Like, what you trying to do? Like, calm down, mom. Putting all this undue pressure. And that's the thing that family will do to us. They'll put undue pressure, and they not thinking about what it's doing to us, how it's affecting us, when they dumping all their insecurities and all their worries. And she probably got girlfriends that they daughters is having kids, and her girlfriends are grandmothers, and they loving being a grandma, and they get to take they grandbabies to the park and to Disney World, and they get to post pictures on Facebook. Ooh, I love these here. And so she getting jealous of that, and so now she wants you. She worrying about your ovaries for her life. And that comment actually affected you, and it's actually haunting you to the point that you wrote in to a stranger from YouTube and put that in here. You could have left that out, but you put that in here, so that let me know what your mama said to you really affected you. And so you got to confront that, and you got to talk to her and say, mama, listen, I'm a doctoral student right now. Like, I have goals, and it's not my only place in the world to have my legs open and conceiving a man child. Like, I understand you want a grandbaby, but I got a life and goals and dream too, and that's unnecessary pressure that you putting on me, to the point that it got me thinking about finding a sperm donor at 25 years old. Come on now. I remember asking my wife, could I be a sperm donor, for everybody who, can't get in a relationship and can't meet nobody. And I just was talking. But I think I read somewhere that some men was like, for like dignitary women or some type of women and stuff, that they were getting some big checks for that, like $100,000. And so I was broke. I was like, hey baby, now what? Nah, I have a little question for you. Now how much you get paid for this? Cause it ain't nothing but just a little bit of that, just put that out there. And it's just funny to me how women are, how men are, how women are. Cause as men now, it's the men who doing that. If you get $10,000, if you get $1,000, it's probably a million men that do not care if they get $1,000 a pop. And don't let it be 10, 20, 30, or 100,000. Oh man, them men so happy. And so, cause men, a lot of times we just be focused on money. And I remember my wife, she said to me, she was like, absolutely not. You can't do that, because when them kids grow up, they gonna be looking for their daddy. Even though their mama got a sperm donor, them kids is gonna wanna know where they come from, and it's gonna eat them alive, and they gonna come looking for you. And then next thing you know, we finna be grown, 40 years old, 50 years old, getting ready to travel the world, and we got to be sitting doing meet and greets with 50 different kids. That's you my daddy. And it was funny to me. It was just a little comment. So don't y'all be in my comment. Oh, Tony, how could you say that? It just was a random conversation, but that was a real answer, because my wife be taking stuff too serious sometimes. And her answer, it really made me think. And I say, you know what, you're right. Because every person I done met who was adopted, or who their daddy left them at a young age, they is on a search for their parents. And so that's something to think about for y'all women that's thinking about getting you a sperm donor, is don't just think about yourself. Think about your child and what that's going to do to your child to be a soul without a father, to not know their father. And it's like, yeah, that made you feel good. Yeah, you happy that you had a child, but what about that child feeling like they half of a person because they don't know their other half? So we also have to just not be so selfish, and not just think about, and the same selfishness that your mama's showing, you got to make sure that you don't show that selfishness and at 25 years old, go get a sperm donor, or go sleep with a random guy, or go sleep with a friend with benefits just to get pregnant. It's like, listen, it is overrated. It is overrated. Yes, every woman love their kids. Every woman love their kids. But listen, you let a woman who had kids at 25 talk to you, and 9 out of 10 times she gonna tell you, listen, take your time. Them kids ain't going nowhere. We got new medicine. Child, you can have a baby at 40. Child, I know a friend had a baby at 51, at 53. I seen a lady. I was just in the airport in Doha, Qatar. I seen a lady. This lady looked at old and Methuselah. And she was pregnant, big as a house. That belly was out there. And she had on some high-waisted pants for it that came up above her belly button and had the rest of the belly open up to, her little bra, sports bra type t-shirt. And when I tell you this woman did not look a day under 50, I was like, and that ain't old and Methuselah, but I'm saying like, figure of speech, y'all. Here go to 50. Oh, 50 years old and listen, I ain't talking about that. Like in a literal, I'm just saying, she just looked it way too older to be pregnant. That pregnant. I was like, wow. This lady, she got to be 63. And it could have just been her tan. I don't know. She was a Caucasian type of looking lady. Could have been her tan. Just could have been how she aged. But when I tell you, I was like, whoa! I did not know that was possible. But it is known for money to be walking through there. For a lot of money to be walking through that Doha airport, because you flying over there, you flying overseas. You see some dignitaries. You see a lot of people that you could tell got some money on them. So she could have a type of doctor type of situation that is then put her in a healthy position to where she could do that at 60. Or she could have just been 40 and look 60. Could have been 35 and look 60. But when I seen it, I'm like, ain't no way. This do not look possible. That a woman that look this age is that pregnant. And so listen. What that woman will tell you that I seen in the airport about you being so ready at 25, she'll say, girl, you got time. You see me over here twice your age and pregnant and happy. Take your time. Come on now. Take your time. And this is the thing. Stop listening to society and to the world and letting that pressure you. Live your life. Do what you want to do. Do what makes sense for you. Listen to that internal. Because if you really wanted you a man, you can have you a man. You don't really want no man. If you really want you a man, you can have you a man. There's enough men out here. You can have you a man. You really wanted you a man. If you really wanted you a man, you know it's ways that you could get you a man. You know how to get you a man now. There's plenty of men online. You could be at the strip club as a waitress, picking up men. A bartender picking up men. If you really want a man, you could be at the gym bending over every day, faking like you doing squats. If you really want a man, you get you a man. But you ain't willing to do all of that. And the reason why you ain't willing to do all of that is because you know it ain't worth it. You know you ain't really that ready. You ain't that desperate. You just under the pressure of seeing other people's lives and listening to what everybody's saying to you. When a lot of times people just say stuff and they don't even think about the implications or the repercussions of what they're saying. They're just saying it and it's literally just conversation. To where if you really sat down and confronted them about that, they'd be like, I just was joking. I wasn't even serious. Wow, I ain't know you took it that serious. That was just like a little joke. Like, girl, I don't care if you don't get married. I don't care if you don't have no child. Girl, you could be 40 years old. They ain't gonna make me none. I'm fine. Like, I done had my kid. I'm push you and your brother and sister and them out. I'm good. Like, take your time. I just was joking. Like, my goodness. Here go a glass of wine. And so sometimes people just be talking. They just be saying stuff. And when you talk to your married friends, sit down and talk to them. I guarantee you they tell you, girl, you got time. Girl, you got time. Trust me. I'm married, but hey, it ain't everything it cracked up to be. It ain't everything they said it was gonna be. Cause listen, that Negro be around here getting attitudes and be snapping, and he wanna be in a casino and he wanna be gambling. He spending our savings on the little app, on betting on the games, and child, listen. And now he looking at me hollering about this person and that person having a threesome. So now I'm ready to punch him in his mouth because he trying me like I'm some $2 woman off the corner. And that's what your friend's going to tell you. And you can be like, oh, okay, wow. Because 9 out of 10 times, it's always some type of issues. And me, I'm married and I'm happy. And I tell young men, my mentees that's 24, 25, 26, I tell them, hey, bro, take your time. Take your time. Do not rush. Do not rush, because you got all your life. You got your whole life to live with a woman. Because as much as I brag about it and I'm happy about it, I still could see the benefit of being single and being focused on your purpose, being focused on your grind, being focused on what God got for you, and letting the natural occur and not being so gung-ho, so desperate, and trying to force your seasons to change, and just letting God order your steps and letting it happen when it's supposed to happen. I could see the benefit in that. And I didn't do that. And my wife didn't do that. And there was a lot of days we had conversations of regret. As much as we love each other, we was like, man, we wonder what it would be like if we would have did this or did that. And then we come back around and we say, you know what? If we didn't have our son when we got married, we wouldn't be together. Because that helped us mature. That helped us grow. And it was a couple days that we stayed for the child. It was a couple days that we did the right thing for the child. And in that process of sacrificing and doing the right thing for our son, we grew. We grew. And so we real about that. And so that's the thing. Everybody live real lives. Everybody have ups and downs. Everybody. And I always use myself as an example just because that's the own personal story I know the best. And when I do that, watch your mouth and don't speak on my wife, or you will get blocked. I had to block a couple people yesterday. Don't come out your mouth sideways. When I mention what my wife did and what she said and all that, you leave that there be, because I will block you. And if you got your first and last name on here, I might have somebody visit you. Don't never ever speak on a queen, especially mine, because she ain't up here doing no coaching and teaching. This what I do. So I deal with what people say slick out the mouth, and I go off by myself, but by her, I go to prison. You hear me? So y'all understand that. Just because when I use her for example, don't play with that. Appreciate that somebody willing to not just sit on a throne and talk down to you and just tell you what to do without admitting their faults and admitting their mistakes and admitting that they human. Because a lot of people that's teaching don't tell you nothing about their business, nothing about they self. So when somebody tell you about they self, don't get beside yourself and want to go commenting on something that you wouldn't otherwise know had I not told you. And that's for the hecklers in the comments. 99% of people don't say nothing, they be fine. But that 1%, I be ready to go. You hear me? I don't play about it. Listen, I don't play about it now. And don't play with it. Do not play with it. Hey, this Tony Gaston. God bless you. We'll talk soon.